It's been a couple hours and we still don't know whether to believe it, but I guess we have to believe it.
34-year-old Ryan Dunn was killed yesterday near Philadelphia.
Police say Dunn and a passenger in his 2007 Porsche died early Monday.
In Pennsylvania, where the autopsy results have already been released. Not surprisingly, he died of blunt force trauma or fire. His body was severely burned. In fact, they can only identify him through his tattoos.
For the person that grew up in the time of wild television, you were more than likely the kid that found yourself acting out dangerous acts to impress your friends because of your favorite TV show, Jackass. But it was also a moment where you became a fan of just regular guys that looked like you, talked like you, and everyone had their favorite person. But there's one that stood out as the silent leader in the group. Funny and outgoing, standing out in the crowd, not looking for more attention. Ryan Dunn, more than likely, had found a place in your heart long ago. Ryan made a name for himself out of Jackass that also bled into Viva La Bam, making him one of the main stars out of the whole show. But the loss of Ryan was a hard moment in life for fans, but especially the ones that loved him and knew him. This is the horrific death of Ryan Dunn.
Here we go.
The last year, weeks, days of Ryan's life were perhaps maybe the busiest he's ever had. In 2010, Jackass 3D was released, with much anticipation from fans waiting for it. Really, the world had never seen anything like this in the theaters. Dangerous stunts performed in 3D while capturing slow motion. When the film comes out, it's huge. It takes over the box office worldwide and essentially becomes a zeitgeist in the media and culture at that time. With the film's release, it just solidified Ryan as one of the biggest stars in the franchise, with him once again still being a fan favorite. It seemed like we would always have Ryan there, a part of the Jackass crew that would come to take the nation by storm. Not only was Ryan hilarious, but one big element that we always saw with Ryan that stood out is that he may have not done the biggest stunt, but he was always giving the biggest laugh or helping one of his buddies, making sure they were okay if it looked like they were hurt or uncomfortable. We could always see that Ryan was carrying a huge heart with him, making him a special person and bringing a different element and feel to the stunts. What many people didn't know about Ryan is that he had something special that he kept private away from the public. From his look of rough and tough of the guy in Jackass, it was simply his other half. Ryan had had a long-time girlfriend that he was said to be over the moon for. Ryan and Angie had been together since 2002, growing their life together. Angie was an actress. She was quiet and gentle, and Ryan was simply just the opposite. Neither had a penny when they met, and just loved one another for who they were. But it's this relationship that tells you who Ryan really was as well. He was faithful and trustworthy, not letting his success ruin what he had with Angie, showing more of his heart. Life was truly amazing for Ryan in those last years and months. Just at 34 years old, he had achieved more than most could ever hope for. With the success of Jackass 3D, Ryan was able to seek out other opportunities in show business, parts in small underground movies or TV shows. The one last project that Ryan was attached to was a show called The Bates Haunting. But one thing about Ryan that was well known, it wasn't hard to find him. He wasn't a Hollywood guy. Ryan was where he always was and wanted to be, at home in Pennsylvania. Ryan had a little home that was just right for him. He didn't live a big lavish lifestyle, buying big houses or jewelry, designer clothes, trying to look the part of Hollywood. Instead, Ryan spent his earnings on his one true passion, cars. He had car garages that he spent much of his free time at when he would disappear after each Jackass movie was completed, if he wasn't doing side projects. But this bled into other elements in Ryan's life that just seemed to be a ticking time bomb when you look back. Fast cars, local hangouts, long nights at the bars. They don't last forever before bad luck would find a moment to intervene. It was a known fact that Ryan was still a late night owl, that you could find him just around in his local town, in a pub, a brewery, a dirty bar, spending most of the night with friends and locals. But with Ryan making it through 2 Jackass films, other dangerous moments in his life, it seems that he would find his Achilles heel soon enough. Ryan didn't hide the fact that he liked to have fun, and he was a well-known drinker. It was what Ryan did to socialize. On June 19th of 2011, it was Ryan's last full day on this earth. It was just a normal one, with not much going on. Ryan woke up one last time, hopping out of his bed, brushing his teeth, having breakfast, lays around his house for most of the day. But later that night, Ryan would show up to the last moments and place he'll spend his life. Ryan's at a bar called Barnaby's in Westchester, PA, a bar that Ryan knew, a local hangout, a safe place for him to be. Ryan had a friend with him who he brought. They spent the night laughing and drinking. Ryan had drove his Porsche 911 GT3 that night. The car was fast, light, and small. Ryan parked it outside the bar and just letting it sit its last few moments. Ryan never knowing that he was about to die in his own car. What was going on in the bar that night was nothing abnormal. Ryan was taking pictures with people, selfies, drinking. It said that Ryan really wasn't drinking on his own accord, buying his own drinks. People around there were just buying him shots. Why not? It's Ryan Dunn. People were excited, taking selfies with him. Everyone says that Ryan was in a good mood that night, making people laugh. Ryan, unknowingly, posted the last picture of himself on Twitter that night, just 2 hours before his death. In the picture you can see Ryan and 2 of his friends, one of which who would lose his life that night with Ryan in his Porsche. It's the last picture of both of them. It's just odd that Ryan got to see his last picture. When Ryan leaves the bar, it's around 2 a.m. He's drunk, but people around Ryan say he's not stumbling, he can walk fine, he's not slurring his words, that he's not showing any signs of failure. He leaves the bar in Westchester, PA that night in his Porsche with his friend. When Ryan gets to a straightaway, just 2 miles from the bar, he's driving fast. It's late, it's dark, he can't see that well. It's believed that he's going 140 miles per hour. Suddenly, Ryan loses control of his car. It goes directly into the midpoint crossing, out of the main road, going into an exit, hitting the guardrail, flipping into the woods, right into a tree. The car and the forest burst into flames, with metal hitting metal, gas lighting everything around it on fire. It's said that Ryan and Zachary are killed instantly from impact. It's still not really known. They lie in the car with no one around, their bodies trapped. They burn with the car. Police arrive on scene, not really knowing who or what is happening in the woods. But soon, they make it to the car and the 2 bodies in it. In the morning, 2 and 2 are put together, and it's known that this was Ryan's Porsche when the VIN number is looked up. Ryan's gone, and Zachary. Sadly, Zachary doesn't get the attention in the news like Ryan would, but he was loved and known by his Jackass family, as he had worked on past films with them. When the crash happened, they were less than half a mile from Zachary's front door. Police drag Ryan's car out of the woods. The bodies are already at the morgue and having to be identified by dental records. Ryan himself was eventually ID'd from tattoos. People start to drive to the scene. Word spreads, news channels pick it up, and becomes a national story. People start to drive to the scene while police are still working it. Ryan was a local hero, well known, but soon with that, Ryan's best friend shows up. It's Bam. He's heartbroken and crying. He's hurt. It's not fair for anyone to have to lose a piece of them, to be lost, and figure out how to go into the next day without that piece. Bam wasn't the same after that day. The Jackass world mourns the loss of a key pillar in their family. They gathered for a funeral days later to put Ryan to rest and celebrate the life that he had, along with Zachary. When Ryan's blood was revealed to the public, it showed that he was more than double the state's driving limit, indicating that he was highly intoxicated. An investigation is done on the bar, where they soon start IDing people that were there that night, asking them questions, and going through surveillance video of the bar inside. seeing just how much Ryan did drink and who was giving it to him, if the bar had been at fault. But it was later seen that the hard liquor that Ryan had been drinking were all given to him by fans or friends. The bar was not held responsible and continued to stay open. A year later, a wrongful death lawsuit was filed from Zachary's parents, wanting payout from Dunn's estate from negligence, from Ryan recklessly driving and killing their son. The amount has never been revealed to the public of how much Zachary's family collected. As for the vehicle that was left as a piece of evidence of what happened, there wasn't much left, and the car was kept for a short time for an investigation, then sent to a scrapyard to be melted down, as the devastation of the crash had just simply turned the car into twisted metal, and nothing could be saved from it. It was just 9 days after Ryan's birthday. He was newly 34. It's a sad and nasty end to what it feels like a friend that we all knew growing up. The death of Ryan Dunn.